it is the final of the weekend then. It's seniors, it's a 15-lapper. I'm Chris Hartley, and here is the build-up to the final race of what's been a fabulous weekend at Campios, the 2015 Winter Cup. We round out the action with the seniors, and there on screen here on RGMMC TV, you can see the grid as it shapes up. Go, Lahane, give it some. Let's have all of it, says Kurt Kostek on the social media feed. Good luck to all of the Strawberry Racing drivers and all the Dutch drivers from Lars Lambrouw, one of our top racers from the Euro Challenge over the last couple of years. Let's see then how the grid shapes up. There it is on screen for those of you listening here at the circuit. Let me run through it for you very quickly. The front row then, Piers Lahane and Dennis Mavlanoff. Lahane on pole, Mavlanoff second. Row 2, Richard Verschoor and Gary Donnelly. Row 3, Brett Ward and Rinus van Kalmthout. Row 4, Zach Clamandameo and Sten Dorian Perimagi. Row 5, Josh Price and Sam Marsh. Row 6, Josh White and Thomas Preining. Thomas, who got stuck in the mid-pack for most of the race, but last year's junior champion at the end of the race set the fastest lap. So could he do something from 12th on the grid? Row 7, Oliver Askew, Joel de Puch. Row 8, Alessandro Trombelli and Ed Brand. Row 9, Mauricio van der Laan and the reigning senior champion, Harry Webb, in a disappointing 18th. Row 10, we got Michael Kuhl, who wasn't feeling too well at the start of the weekend, and Louis Ferdinand Simonauer. Row 11, Julien Falchero and Becky Besler. Row 12, Savannah Courtney and Shane Daly. Row 13, Manuel Maldonado, got lots of support from back home watching online. And Hannes Tampera. And row 14, Michel Biffiger and Thomas Drouet. Row 15, Adam Nykaska and Tom Meyer. Row 16, Luke Wilhelms and Yakamati Paulin. Row 17, Luca Nipfer and Max Timmermans, who was excluded from the pre-final, has to start right at the back of the field. So this is it. They go on to the second formation lap. Hello to Ben Cooper, reigning DD2 Euro Challenge champion, who's watching. He says it feels strange watching online and not being there. Good luck to all of the KMS boys from Ben Cooper. Well, they did all right, didn't they? Frank Canchar winning the race, sending a disappointment for him, but from the back of the field to 10th was a pretty sterling effort. But hope you're well, Ben. Hope your new venture is going well, and maybe catch up with you at some point at some racetrack somewhere. So that's Ben Cooper. Good to see he's been watching online. And from Dries van Tour, good luck to Richard and Mats and all the rest of the team at TKP. So best of luck to the Dutch TKP team, Ton Vink's team from Dries van Tour, who's watching on the live stream as well. Great to have so many of you joining us. We've had thousands and thousands over the weekend on the live stream, which is great to have. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage and look forward to you joining us for the rest of the season as well as that wears on. Let's concentrate, though, on this final race of the weekend here at the Winter Cup. The back of the field, we've got one who's struggling to join the pack, which is Josh Price, who's had a problem, but at the front of the field, Piers Lahane leads the charge into turn 1, and he leads the way. He's got it sorted out. Richard Verschoor has snuck through to second place and gone through. Somebody gets a little bit crossed up in the middle of the pack through turn 2, but avoids being collected. And so everybody safely through. But what's going on with Josh Price's cart? He still hasn't made it to the start of the race. He's crawling around. I think he might even pull off the circuit. He can't do anything now anyway, can he, in terms of a result? And that is desperate disappointment for Josh Price, who would have been 9th on the grid. He's just driven off into the paddock. So that's the end of his race. Doesn't have much luck, does he, Josh? Hopefully it'll turn one day, because he's a very quick driver. Let's see then how it shapes up with Piers Lahane. Dennis Mavlanov is there, or was there in second place at the end of the first lap, with Gary Donnelly in third position. Fourth place at the end of lap 1, Richard Verschoor, Rinus van Kalmthout and Sten Dorian Perimagi were in the top 6. Brett Wood was 7th, DeMeo 8th, Tommy Preining up to 9th and Josh White up to 10th place at the end of that first lap. We're already at the end of the second lap. Piers Lahane and Richard Verschoor now the top 2, and Richard Verschoor is off the back of a supreme 2014, looking really comfortable as a senior driver here. He's shot up. He's grown. It looks like he's grown about 4 or 5 centimetres in the few months over the winter. Really tall. He's now becoming and ready for seniors. And despite the learning curve and more power and all of that, he looks very comfortable. He's a one to watch here. Some exciting young drivers coming from the Netherlands at the moment. One of them, who's only a couple of years older than Richard Verschoor, of course, he's going to be in Formula 1 this year. So down towards the left-hander at turn 10 they go. Piers Lahane from Australia leading. Second place from the Netherlands is Richard Verschoor. Dennis Mavlanov, the Russian driver, still on for a podium position. He's third. Gary Donnelly is there in fourth place. Then Peremage's just dropped back a few places here. He's lost another one, I think, to Brett Ward on the way into turn 12. So he was in the top 5, but he's just dropped back to about 7th place now. As we come up to the end of the next lap, over the line goes Lehane, 0.2 of a second clear of Richard Verschoor. 1 kart length between them. Dennis Mavlanov hanging on to third, but with Gary Donnelly and Rinus van Kalmthout in the dark suit, the black suit and the orange helmet. Another quick rising young junior from the Netherlands coming through. Van Kalmthout, he's just ahead of Brett Ward, who did get ahead of Peremage at turn 12. So Brett Ward fighting on. He's really had to roll his sleeves up this weekend, Brett Ward, to get where he is. He's certainly got the speed to go forwards and challenge for a podium. A driver with a very, very strong record in karting at international level. Brett Ward looking quick as well on this lap, so he's almost onto the tail now of Rinus van Kalmthout. Peremage behind him. Then you've got Tommy Preining in 8th, Clement de Mayo 9th, Oliver Askew driving well, the American. He's into the top 10 now. Josh White in 11th. Ed Brand, that kart has been struggling, but he's been using all of his nous in his racecraft to try and drag it up near the top 10. He's doing a good job, and he's in about 12th place. 12 laps to go still, only 3 under the belt. Long race this for the seniors. Blue skies have disappeared. It's getting a bit overcast. 1 or 2 dark clouds overhead as well. Let's hope they stay away. Piers Lehane has led most of the weekend. It's been a very strong performance from Piers. Quickest in the free practice sessions. He just missed out on pole on Friday in time qualifying. But when Gary Donnelly wasn't able to start the first race, Piers showed that he got a real advantage over everybody else by winning that first heat yesterday by 5 seconds. He's not going to win this one by 5 seconds though. He's controlling it, but he's not pulling away from them. Second place, Richard Verschoor. Third place, no change, Mavlanov. Donnelly 4th. 5th, Van Kalmthout. And Brett Ward now coming on the attack here as they go down towards turn 12. He looks at the inside. Brett Ward ahead of Rinus van Kalmthout with another lovely move. Brett Ward now up into 5th place. Van Kalmthout will have to try and follow his more experienced rival there, the British driver, with a good move. 2 good moves in 2 laps down at that part of the course. He has got the fastest lap of the race again as well, 64.9. Van Kalmthout trying to hang on to him. Tommy Preining, who's sort of been overshadowed by the other juniors that he raced against last year. Tommy was the dominant force in juniors last year in the Rotax Max Euro Challenge, the multiple Austrian champion, dominating most of the European season, the European calendar. He's been a bit overshadowed this weekend by Richard Verschoor and Rinus van Kalmthout, but when it matters, he's coming into it. Sort of the opposite of last year in the juniors in the Winter Cup, where Tommy Preining sort of dominated the early part of the weekend, and then it didn't work out for him in the final. Well, he's just made another move. He goes ahead of Rinus van Kalmthout. That was at turn 9, and now he's up into the top 6. So 6 places gained for Tommy Preining. Is there going to be a change for third as well? Gary Donnelly fires one up the inside of Dennis Mavlanov. They both run wide through the exit to the turn, and Brett Ward gets past both of them. So 2 places gained, and Brett Ward now into a podium position. He's up to third. 4th is Mavlanov. Tommy Preining is almost being pushed down the straight here by Rinus van Kalmthout as they lock out Gary Donnelly on the run into turn 1. So the Irishman just offline there and having to concede a couple more places, finds himself down at the tail end of the top 6. Harry Webb, reigning champion, Winter Cup winner of 2 years ago, in 16th place. It's got a bit better as the weekend's gone on. He's not where he ought to be, but at least there's been a bit of progress. So 16th for Harry Edbrand, a couple of places ahead of him, his teammate. 2:06 is Piers Lehane. He leads the way, continues to have a 0.2 of a second advantage over Richard Verschoor. But Brett Ward, what can he do now? He's got his nose clear of traffic. We've seen fastest lap after fastest lap from him in the last couple of days. Can he now convert that into a win? Brett Ward closing in, I reckon, on Richard Verschoor. The gap at the beginning of this lap was 0.9 of a second, 0.9 of a second. Tommy Preining trying to get ahead of Mavlanov now to be in 4th place, and has done so. So Tommy Preining up into 4th position now. He's in the right place at the right time, is Tommy. Can he get on the podium here? Richard Verschoor, who challenged him for the title in juniors last year, is still ahead of him, 2 places ahead of him. So it's the experienced Lehane and Ward, and in between them, the less experienced at this level, Verschoor and Prining, the two juniors that have just been promoted up. Fascinating stuff. 0.4 of a second is the gap from Lehane to Verschoor, so that has grown because Piers Lehane set a personal best last time around. He did a 65.0, a 65.2 for Verschoor, a 65.1 for Brett Ward. So Brett Ward is a bit quicker than Verschoor, but they're both losing time fractionally to our leader, Piers Lehane. What about Tommy Prining? He did a 64.9 as well. That wasn't an entirely clear lap though, so is there maybe a bit more powder in the gun there? Mavlanov is 5th, Van Kamphout 6th, Clement de Meo's up to 7th now, Gary Donnelly down to 8th, Peremaggi and White rounding out the top 10. Ollie Askew's just outside the top 10. They're all queuing up behind Rinus Van Kamphout on the run into turn 1, but he defends his position now. Brett Ward has got himself within striking distance of Richard Verschoor for 2nd place. Into turn 6 they go, climbing up to 7. And then downhill through this quick right-hander at turn 8. No overtaking there. Possibly you can overtake at turn 9, but it's difficult to say the least. Into the next turn there's an opportunity though. Brett Ward's favourite place has been at the end of the back straight though, into turn 12. On the brakes he goes. Richard Verschoor, he now has in his sights. Brett Ward was a 2/10 quicker on the last lap. So he's got the momentum. Is he going to go for it now? Could there be a change for 2nd place? Down at turn 12. He winds it up. He looks to the inside. Without hesitation, Brett Ward goes for it. And again, pulls off a beautiful move. 2nd place now for Brett Ward. That was from about 2 lengths back. There was not even any inkling of doubt in his mind that he was going to go for that. He lined it up halfway down the straight. Richard Verschoor started to close the door. But Richard is a clever, a smart driver. And he realised that he'd have to let Brett go, so rather than get into a collision, he backed off out of it, as he had to really. 3rd place it is for him. So Verschoor and Prining back together once again. I bet Richard Verschoor didn't really expect to have to be fighting Tommy Prining in this race, but Tommy has had an excellent drive. Had a bit of a battle in the midfield pack in the pre-final, but he kept his head down, he kept cool, and he's come through it. Richard Verschoor was on the podium at this event last year in the Winter Cup as a junior. Can he make it as a senior? Can he make it back-to-back podiums at this event, at this circuit? We've got 6.5 laps to go, and Piers Lehane is just starting to edge away, 7/10 clear of the pack, but this is the first time that Brett Ward's had a clear track in front of him, so let's see what the comparative lap times are like. I fancy there's not much between them. I'm not sure the gap's coming down though. No, Lehane's just put in his best lap of the race, 65.044. Ward at 65.073. So I was right, there's not much between them at all. A few thousandths of a second. But Lehane was ever so slightly quicker. Verschoor and Prining 3rd and 4th. Mavlanov is 5th. Gary Donnelly has fought his way back up to 6th now. Clement de Meo 7th. Van Kamphout 8th. Peremaggi 9th and White in 10th. Louis Ferdinand Simonau having a good run in this final. Has come up to 11th place from 20th on the grid. So Louis Ferdinand Simonau, the French driver, doing very nicely here to get himself up into the top 10. Through into the 2nd sector. The leaders now go. Piers Lehane has a slight advantage in the 1st sector over Brett Ward. Brett gets his head down. He's not close enough to be able to pick up a toe, a slipstream down the back straight. If you can get a little bit closer, that will be of benefit, and that's where he's been able to pull off these moves down into turn 12. He's going to have to work really hard to get there, though. 5 laps to go when they cross the line. Through they go. Right, 65.1 for Piers Lehane, 65.0 for Brett Ward. It's not a lot, but he's got the gap down to 0.6 of a second. Thomas Prining is now 3rd, by the way, ahead of Richard Verschoor. So those two switched around on that lap. And Denis Mavlanov and Gary Donnelly continue to run in the top 6 as well. So Tommy Prining from 12th on the grid in a podium pay position. How about that? Can Richard Verschoor do anything about him? Can Brett Ward do anything about our race leader? Actually, Brett's going to have to keep his head down here. It's not just a case of trying to catch Piers Lehane. He's going to have to go flat out just to keep Tommy Prining behind him, I reckon. So this race is not yet won for Piers Lehane. It's been straightforward so far, but what's the gap down to? 0.689 seconds. Tommy Prining set a personal best last time around. In fact, Tommy Priding, despite moving through into third place, despite overtaking, actually got the fastest lap of the race last time around, a couple of tenths quicker than the top two. There's a warning coming out for Zach Clamandameo for driving standards. He's still running in 7th place. So the lap times now 65.1 for our leader, Lehane, 64.9 for Brett Ward, even quicker, Tommy Priding, 64.8 seconds. So second is catching first, third is catching them both. And there's still time for a change here amongst the podium finishers. Lehane has got to press on here in the remaining, 3.5 laps of the race. The gap's come down. It's only coming down fractionally, but it's coming down. And Brett Ward will feel that, he'll sense that, and it will spur him on even more. Likewise with Tommy Priding. Richard Verschoor's pace is also very good in 4th. Let's not rule him out of a podium just yet either. Dennis Mavlanov, I think, is as quick as them as well in 5th place. Sort of slightly shaky period about 3 or 4 laps into the race for Dennis, but now he's fighting back. Gary Donnelly 6th, Clamandameo and Perry Marsley the next two through. We go over the line into turn 1. There are 3 laps to go in this race, and the gap has come down again to 0.5 of a second. 65.2 seconds for Lehane, 65.0 for Ward, and for the man in third, Tommy Priding, 64.8 seconds. So almost identical to the last lap. Brett Ward closes in by a tenth. Tommy Priding closes in by 2 tenths. It's going to be right together, isn't it, at the end of the race? It's building up to a real climax here. Pierce Lehane has had things mostly his own way this weekend, and that's because he's been driving absolutely brilliantly. But it's still not a foregone conclusion. Brett Ward is hunting him down, and in one sense it's a little bit easier to be the one hunting and trying to catch than the one trying to defend a position. Brett's got a target to aim for. Pierce might start to feel the pressure, but he's an experienced driver, pretty laid back character in the kart as well, and he won't be panicking at all. The Aussie goes through. 2 to go. That gap's come down again though, hasn't it? Yeah, it's a 0.3 of a second, just under 3 tenths now. Brett Ward has pulled away from Tommy Priding on that lap. 65.0 for Lehane. He's getting a bit quicker, but the problem is Brett Ward's getting even quicker. 64.9, and Brett's now within about 1 kart length of our race leader. The Australian leads. The British driver is second. The Austrian Tommy Priding is third. The Dutch driver Richard Verschoor is fourth. From Russia, Mavlanov fifth. From Ireland, Gary Donnelly completed the top 6. The Estonian Sten Dorian Pirimagi in 7th. The Canadian Clamandameo 9th. The Dutch driver Van Kalmthout and the British driver White rounding out the top 10. A truly international field here. We're into the closing stages. 1.5 laps to go, and it's become now a 2-horse race. Tommy Priding has just run out of steam, I think. 3rd place, though, will still be a top result from where he began the race in 12th spot on the grid. Right on the brakes through 12 and into 13. Brett Ward's closed up even more. He's lining it up. It's going to go down to the wire, this race. They're going to start the last lap of the race, and he goes for the lead. Goes to the inside, sweeps to the outside because Pierce Lehane covers the line off. Lehane a bit deep into the corner, but Brett Ward still can't find a gap. So Lehane continues to lead, but they were weaving and blocking each other down the straight there. Lehane, even without looking over his shoulder, could just hear the engine noise, could just sense that Brett Ward was going to launch one down the inside. So he covered the line on the inside. Brett tried the outside line, but it wasn't to be. So one more big opportunity at the end of the back straight for Brett Ward, and he's close enough now to pick up a slipstream. That little scrap has allowed Tommy Priding to get a bit closer to them in 3rd place. What a finale this is going to be. Pierce Lehane under huge pressure now from Brett Ward. Through the penultimate hairpin, into turn 11 they go. This is it. This is your chance, Brett. Pierce, you've got to defend like crazy. He glances over his shoulder. The top 2 go down towards turn 12. The inside line is covered by Pierce Lehane. Through into 13, he's got the inside line. Brett Ward runs alongside him, but Lehane's still got his nose in front. Into the final turn, Lehane still hanging on to it. It's going to be a run to the line. They're almost side by side, but Pierce Lehane wins the race by half a kart length, by 0.043 seconds, 43 thousandths of a second. The win goes to Pierce Lehane. Brett Ward with a fantastic effort there. Almost did it, but 2nd place for him. Tommy Priding in 3rd place with a fabulous drive as well. They all shake hands. They all congratulate one another. That was superb racing. Good, clean racing from Lehane, Ward and Prining. Richard for sure played his part as well. He's going to be one to watch this year in seniors, and best of luck to him in all of his exploits around Europe. Denis Mavlanov, that's the best I've seen him go as well. That was terrific from Denis in 5th place. Gary Donnelly, a good debut in 6th as well. Zach Clementomeo 7th, then Dorian Piramagi going really well in 8th place. He's had a solid weekend. Rinus van Kalmthout, a good weekend in 9th. Josh White 10th. Berke Besler going well in 11th, and Louis Ferdinand Simonauer from 20th on the grid up to 12th place. Sir Piers Lehane wins for Strawberry. The Winter Cup here. There's the rest of the results on your screens on RGMMC TV. Hugely disappointing weekend for Ed Brand and Harry Webb, but they will bounce back, as I'm sure will the CRG team. So there are the rest of the results. The fastest lap went to Tommy Prining. He finishes 3rd. Brett Wood takes home 2nd place. Your race winner, though, your Winter Cup champion for 2015 in the seniors, is Piers Lehane.